There's more music with The Police, Stevie Wonder, and the movie that started it all, Flashdance. For music excitement, movie excitement, and a lot more, it's showtime in May.
We make excitement.
Hello, I'm Davita Rothberg, and I have a brand new program that I'm excited to share with you. It's all about what's happening with many exciting Westchester families. We hope that we'll be dealing with families like your own, and we'll be talking about issues such as divorce, remarriage. We'll be talking about family health, family excitement, and meet a special Family of the Month. So please join us right here on UA Cable 3, starting at these times.
Columbia Cable 3 Sports presents another Cable 3 Sports Special. And today, high school baseball on tap as the Yellow Jackets of Hastings take on the Trojans of Blind Brook. Well, very pleasant good afternoon and welcome to Reed Field there on the campus of Blind Brook High School in Rye Brook, New York. I'm John Caridio, and we do indeed have for you today another Cable 3 Sports Special. It'll be the Trojans of Blind Brook High School taking on the Yellow Jackets of Hastings High School. Blind Brook coming in as the defending Section 1 Class C champions from a year ago, and they'll be taking on John Morabito's Hastings Yellow Jackets, having a disappointing campaign this year with a record of 4-8-1 coming in to league play at 3-5-1. On the other hand, the Trojans of Blind Brook, a great season so far. They are 9-1 in C play, and in Conference C South, they are in first place by 2 games over Tuckahoe, and their overall record coming into today's ball game, a sparkling 12-3. So you can see out onto the field, some of the folks actually have joined us from Blind Brook High School, but out on the field are the home team, the Trojans, their head coach Jeff Charney in his second season as head coach, and we can take a look now at how the Trojans set up defensively. We begin first of all at first base. Number 22 is Seth Marcus. He is a junior. Over at second base, wearing number 28, will be Alan Rand. He is also a junior. Down at shortstop, also a junior, wearing number 30, Mario Ferrante. And down the lines at third, our only senior of the bunch, number 11, Mark Fink. Out in left field, wearing number 23, he will be a senior. That gentleman there is Dave Kramer. Around in center field, number 21, Joe Rosenberg. He is also a senior. And a sophomore down the lines in right field, wearing number 17, and his name is Andy Brown. Out on the mound, but doing the catching this afternoon, wearing number 20, is a senior, Joe Lanzetta. And to start things off this afternoon for the Trojans of Blind Brook, wearing number 36, a junior, Paul Phillips, and he'll be coming into today's game with a record of 4-2. Again, our particulars, the two managers, John Morabito of the Yellow Jackets of Hastings in his 8th season, and for the Trojans of Blind Brook, Jeff Charney. He is in his 2nd year as head coach of the Blind Brook Trojans. As we mentioned, the Class C champions a year ago in all of Section 1. That's Westchester, Rockland, and Putnam, and Dutchess counties. And they came in as the number 3 seed in last year's tournament, finishing up in 3rd place in C South behind Hastings and Rye Neck, who tied for the top spot yesterday. The Hastings Yellow Jackets have been the Class C South champs the last 2 seasons. So a lot of tradition, baseball tradition involved in today's ball game between these two schools. Doing our umpiring this afternoon, as you look at Jeff Charney, number 7. He will be the head coach and is the head coach of the Trojans. Our umpires today behind the plate, going to call the balls and strike, is Lou Iacomini. He is from Yonkers. And from Pleasantville, out on the bases, Mr. Ted Gale. So we're about set to begin as Paul Phillips has completed his warm-up tosses, and leading it off for the Yellow Jackets of Hastings will be the center fielder, number 7, Bill Kennedy. Kennedy, one of the co-captains of this year's Yellow Jacket squad. Ready for Phillips' first delivery, right down the middle, strike 1 on an opening fastball. Kennedy on the season, batting at .371. He is 13 of 35. He has hit 2 home runs and a little speedster. Once he gets on the bases, he has stolen 11 bases so far this year. Curveball from Phillips, and he gets Kennedy to chase it, so Phillips quickly ahead of the count at no balls and 2 strikes. First batter here in the top half of the first inning. We are scheduled for 7 in this Class C South matchup, Blind Brook and Hastings. important ball game for both clubs. This one popped up. Second baseman Alan Rand, the junior, settles underneath, and we have one away. Routine pop fly. Kennedy is out, courtesy of Alan Rand, and that will bring up now the catcher, number 10, Pat Lacey. Lacey, you might remember, had him on our Cable 3 high school football coverage earlier this season. Mad Dog, they call him, around the Hastings campus. He's batting .342 this year, 13 of 38. He is a senior. Second year as a starter for the Yellow Jackets. He'll go after the first pitch and fly to right field. Andy Brown, little trouble coming up with it, but after a little circle, he's able to make the catch, and very quickly we have two away. We'll come now to the number 3 hitter and the shortstop, number 9, John Vaccaro. Vaccaro, one of the co-captains. Burby is what they call him. I have to thank John Morabito, the head coach of Hastings, for providing us with all the kids' nicknames today. There are some good ones, including the coach's Moose. That's what they call him. So Vaccaro, senior, batting .462 this year, 18 of 39, and he has driven in 9 runs, a 3-year starter for John Morabito at Hastings. Paul Phillips, first pitch, cut on, fastball, up around his eyes a little bit, but Vaccaro goes after it. No balls, 1 strike. Nobody on, 2 away, top half of the first inning. Another fastball, this one high and outside, and again Vaccaro goes after it. And again, Phillips ahead of the hitter at 0-2. He had Kennedy at 0-2 before Kennedy popped up to second base, and Lacey chased after the first pitch. And now Vaccaro, looking to keep things alive, fouls this one straight back. So that keeps Vaccaro alive. Count remains at no balls, 2 strikes. A lot of room, as you might have noticed, between home plate and the backstop. And that is going to be quite a test for the catchers this afternoon. You can see, we even imagine get the truck in there. That's how much room there is. 0-2 pitch from Phillips. Popped out of play. This one will go over the fence behind the Hastings dugout. So Vaccaro staying alive. Still no balls, 2 strikes, nobody on, and 2 away. Top half of the first. Now, as you can see, Vaccaro will go down and talk with John Morabito before he'll face Phillips next pitch. Phillips at 4-2 this season, just a junior. Right-hander deals. Good-looking curveball on the outside part of the plate. And Vaccaro is called out on strike, so an easy inning for Paul Phillips, who gets Hastings to go quietly 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. And at the end of a half inning of play here at Reed Field in Blind Brook, it is Hastings nothing, and the Trojans coming to bat. So again, if you're just joining us, quick numbers for you. Hastings coming into this ball game with a record of 4-8-1 overall. They are at 3-5-1 in conference play, that being C-South, and this is indeed a conference affair. Blind Brook, 12-3 overall, 9-1 in the conference. Their only loss to Tuckahoe, and a heartbreaker for the Trojans. Tuckahoe beat them 11-10 on a grand slam homer in the bottom of the 7th with 2 away. Tough way to lose a ball game. All right, the Yellow Jackets, our visitors, are out on the field, so I'll have a chance to show you how they set up defensively. Over at first base, wearing number 5 and a senior, Bob Skolich. At second base, number 18, he is also a senior, and he is Chris Madison. You've already met our shortstop, senior, number 9, John Vaccaro. And down the lines at third base, number 6, a junior, Kevin Olkers. In the outfield for the Yellow Jackets, in left field, number 1, Stu Cohen, he's a junior. Around in center field, number 7, Billy Kennedy, our leadoff hitter, he is also a senior. And in right field, number 4, Greg Localio, and he is a junior. Behind the plate doing the catching, the number 2 hitter in the order, number 10, Pat Lacey, a senior. And out on the mound to start things off for the Yellow Jackets here in inning number 1, wearing number 21, Keith Fagan. He's a senior, coming in with a record of 0-2 and an ERA of 4.70. So he's had some rough outings so far this year. John Morabito was telling me before the game he had what he thought was a pretty good ball club coming into the season, and then the head coach broke his leg. There you see. I guess they sell those at Hastings because you couldn't buy them here at Blind Brook if you wanted to. any event, Morabito broke his leg 1 week into the season and missed 5 ball games, and the Yellow Jackets went on a 7-game losing streak. Morabito says he thought him missing the ball games really hurt his pitchers the most because they need a little guidance. And now all of a sudden Hastings has turned things around. They are on a 3-game winning streak, including yesterday's 15-9 win over Hamilton. So John Morabito hoping that sun continues to shine on his yellow and green Yellow Jackets. Leading it off for the Trojans here in the bottom of the first will be number 28, Alan Rand, the second baseman. Rand on the season batting at .375. He has 2 doubles, 1 home run, and 11 runs batted in. And on the first pitch, Rand is hit by Keith Fagan. So we have our first base runner on. Rand trots down to first. He's okay. And we'll come up to the number 2 hitter. Will be the designated hitter, number 45, Rick Blau. Blau on the season batting a crisp .405. No doubles, 1 home run, and 9 runs batted in. Calling card toss over to first base, ran back easily. It's a big ballpark here at Reed Field. Runner goes, pitch is over, called strike, throw down is off the money. And Rand is in with the stolen base. So the Trojans very quickly get a runner in scoring position as Rand hit by the pitch, promptly steals second. Pat Lacey's throw to second base, a little bit off the money. No ball, 1 strike count to Rick Blau, the designated hitter. He bats for the first baseman, Bob Skolich. And again, Fagan, little trouble with his control, and he hits Blau. And Blau a little more pain than Alan Rand was in after he was hit. Looks like it got him on the left elbow. So Fagan a little trouble finding home plate. Now in a bit of a jam with no outs and runners at first and second here in the bottom half of the first inning. Ted Gale, the bases umpire, talking with Fagan now. Stepping in will be Mario Ferrante, the shortstop. Runners at first and second now. No score. We're here in the bottom half of the first inning. They're still going to do a little work on Rick Blau as Ted Gale. Now he's going to come over and say, well, is he going to stay or are you going to replace him? And now they've decided that Blau will stay in the ball game. So we have runners at first and second, and Mario Ferrante, the shortstop, steps in. Ferrante this season batting .270, 2 doubles, a home run, and 15 runs batted in. Keith Fagan in a bit of a jam. 2 on, no outs. Bottom of the first. Fastball inside, and Ferrante goes after it. Strike 1. Infield at double play depth. Runners go. Pitches outside. Throw down to third. In time. Nice toss by Pat Lacey down to the third baseman, Kevin Olkers. And they get Alan Rand attempting to steal for the first out here in the first inning. We'll have another chance to see it here. Double steal. No, not a double steal. Rand going all on his own. And a throw on the money, and Olkers with the tag. So that play goes 2-5. Blau remains at first base, and Ferrante with a 1-1 count. Curveball fouled straight back and out of play. So now Fagan ahead of Ferrante at 1-2. And definitely not in as much trouble as he was a minute ago. Now with 1 away and a runner at first. And 2 strikes on Ferrante. Ferrante's only struck out 4 times this year. Big sweeping curveball. That almost looking like a knuckleball the way it came up to the plate. Not a lot of spin on it. So that evens it up at 2-2. In the dirt. Again, we bring your attention to behind home plate. A lot of room between the plate and the backstop. That ball gets passed. Lacey's got to go get it. Throw to first, not in time. Blau back safely. Fagan opened up the inning by hitting Rand, and then he stole second, and then Blau was hit by a pitch, and then Rand tried to steal third and was gunned down by Pat Lacey. And we have a count of 3-2. That curveball is high, so Ferrante is on. Puts runners at first and second with one away. And Joe Rosenberg, the center fielder, will step up, number 21. Rosenberg with a batting average of .342 this year. He has 2 doubles, a triple, 2 homers, and 11 runs batted in. Rand, incidentally, with 18 stolen bases now, was looking for number 19. There's a good-looking fastball down along the knees. Rosenberg takes called strike 1. Blindbrook's key, according to their head coach, Jeff Charney, has been the hitting this year. There, Rosenberg cut on a high fastball, so the count now at 0-2. Charney was telling me before the game he expected the pitching to really be the key to this year's team, but he said after the first couple of games, the hitting started to take over, and they've won a lot of 9-10 ball games, or 9-8, 10-9 ball games. Curveball was inside. So the count is now at 1-2. Lacey with a good backhanded stop. 2-2 now. Joe Rosenberg, center fielder. Runners at first and second and 1 out. Bottom half of the first inning here at Reed Field, Blindbrook High School. Runners hold. This one deep to left center field. Going back. Billy Kennedy can't get it. It's out of here. Joe Rosenberg with a 3-run blast to the power alley in left center. So all of a sudden the lightning has struck here at Reed Field, and Blindbrook's up by a score of 3-0. 3-run shot. Just a fastball, a high fastball. And Rosenberg got all of that. No chance for Kennedy in center field. Blindbrook's up 3-0. Paul Phillips now, the pitcher, steps up. Fagan's first pitch. Fastball's over, strike 1. A little while, we'll give you the dimensions of the ballpark, but the power alley there in left center, 335, so that was a shot. Phillips goes the other way with this one, but Greg Localio comes over, and he makes the catch for out number 2. Nice try by Phillips. It was an outside fastball, and rather than try to pull the pitch, Phillips went with it, but got it up in the air just a little bit, giving Localio enough time to come over and make the play. 2 away down, none on. And Mark Fink, the third baseman, steps in, number 11. And he cuts on the first pitch. In the hole, it's picked up by Vaccaro, but he will not have a play. And an infield single for Mark Fink as Blindbrook keeps this rally alive. 3 runs on just 2 hits so far for the Trojans. And now we'll come to the number 7 hitter and our catcher, Joe Lanzetta, number 20. Lanzetta this season batting at .395. Leads the teams in doubles with 3. In triples with 2, and in home runs with 2. And also in RBIs with 14. So Lanzetta having the good season. Fastball catches the outside part of the plate from Keith Fagan. Count is at 0-1. 2 away. One runner on. Lanzetta didn't want to hit that one. Slow roller to the second, and an easy play by Chris Madison. That ends the inning, but not before Blindbrook comes up with 3 big ones on the 3-run homer by Joe Rosenberg. There were 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left on. At the end of 3 at Reed Field, it's Blindbrook 3 and Hastings nothing.
What you're doing is illegal.
You're trying to hook yourself up to cable without paying for it. But that's illegal. Not very safe either. Stealing cable service is against the law in every state in the Union. So don't think that what you're doing isn't a crime, because it is. Be smart. Call your local cable company to hook you up legally. This message has been brought to you by Group W Satellite Communications and your local cable operator.
Fines to $1,000 and a year in prison.
Big chance. We're to tell them Sports Channel isn't ESPN. Sports Channel's the one that gives you all of us.
Yeah!
You get the Mets, the Yankees.
Way to go.
The Islanders.
All right.
And Nets. The Nets.
Walk with Thunder.
Sports Channel. It's the only one big enough to cover all of us.
Sports Channel. We've got New York sports covered. If you're a New York sports fan, call your cable company to order Sports Channel today.
Back here at Reed Field on the campus of Blind Brook High School in Rye Brook, New York. I'm John Caridio. Fortunately, the Hacker not able to be with us this afternoon. Again, playing the big-time role at Dun & Bradstreet in the city. You know, these Friday afternoon affairs when everybody's taking off for the quick weekend getaway. Maneri is hoping to make that last train out of Grand Central, usually around this time. But in any event, we're glad to have you along on our Cable 3 Sports Special. They're glad to be here as well. 3-0 our score, Blind Brook on top, courtesy of the 3-run homer by Joe Rosenberg. As Hastings comes up now, Kevin Olkers, the third baseman. First delivery from Paul Phillips, over strike one. Olkers this season, he's batting at .474, 18 of 38 with 9 runs batted in. This one fouled back and out of play. So again, Phillips continuing to stay ahead of the hitters. He has not been behind a hitter so far in this ball game. This is fourth batter he's faced. And he is at 0-2 against Olkers. Swung on and missed, strike three. So Olkers goes down swinging. That is strikeout number 2 for Mr. Phillips. And we'll bring up Bill Malenchik, the designated hitter, number 23. Malenchik this season, batting at .207. Has 3 triples and a double this year. He's a senior. Malenchik, the designated hitter. Nobody on, 1 out. Top half of the second inning. 3-0 Blind Brook on top. Big sweeping curveball is low and in the dirt. Ball 1. Well, Rosenberg really lit up the stands here with his blast to left center field, a 3-run homer, giving Blind Brook the lead. This one he fouled straight back. Hastings looks to be a little behind on their swings against Phillips. It's the first time that these two teams have faced each other this year. They'll have one more meeting over at Hastings. Only 4 games left in the regular season, and at this point it looks like Blind Brook in pretty good shape to defend their Section 1 crown, and that one foul tipped back into the mitt of Joe Lanzetta for strike 2. So again, Phillips ahead of the hitter, 1-2. Of course, they'll have the tournament in the conference, in the section, I should say. This one fouled at the plate. Malenchik stays alive, still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Last year, Hastings came in as the number 1 seed in the Section 1 Class C tournament and lost to the number 16 seed. That was Bronxville. There's another fastball that Malenchik swings through. So 2 outs here in the top of the second. Phillips has registered 3 Ks, and Rob Skokic, first baseman, steps up, number 5. Two away, nobody on. Fastball is high, ball 1. Skokic this season batting at .281. Also a pitcher for Hastings. He's the best pitcher they have on the staff. A 2.4 ERA when he's on the mound. .281 batting average at the plate. Swings on a high fastball. Count evens at 1-1. Paul Phillips has retired the first 5 batters he's faced in this ball game, looking very sharp. Another high fastball. I tell you, those balls are out of the strike zone, but as you know, especially in high school, those high fastballs come up around your chin. look very tempting. And Phillips has been getting the Yellow Jackets to go after him so far. 1-2 pitch. Popped up. First baseman, Seth Marcus. And he makes the catch. So another easy inning for Paul Phillips and the Blind Brook Trojans as Hastings again goes quietly. 3 up, 3 down. Nothing across. And at the end of an inning and a half of play at Reed Field, the score remains Blind Brook 3 and Hastings nothing. Well, if we can take a chance here, we'll take a look at the dimensions of the ballpark as you see some of the folks who are here. That's on the Hastings side of the field. We'll start over in left field. Down the line, it measures 286, so it's a short poke right there. But then as we move towards center field, there's the power alley at 325 and then 335. Dina at camera 1 is at dead center field. To her from here is 417 feet. That's just as far as it is in Yankee Stadium. Power alley in right center is 320. And down the lines at right field here at Reed Field, the pole right there measuring at 305. So it's short down the lines, but Jeff Rosenberg has already showed us that it's not too difficult to reach the power alley as his 3-run homer has given Blind Brook the early lead. We're going now to the bottom half of the second inning. With Hastings coming up, they'll have, with Blind Brook coming up, they'll have Andy Brown and Dave Kramer, the number 8 and number 9 hitters, and then we'll go back to the top of the order with Alan Rand. Keith Fagan still out on the mound. Looked like he was going to get out of the jam in that first inning. He started it off by hitting the first 2 hitters, Alan Rand and Rick Blau. Then Rand tried to steal third. He was thrown out. Mario Ferrante was at the plate, eventually walked. And Rosenberg then came through with his 3-run homer. So a big play by Pat Lacey to gun down Rand as he tried to steal third. That could have been a grand slam homer. And Hastings would have found themselves 1 more run down. But after that, Fagan seemed to settle down and got out of the inning without any further damage being done. So now Blind Brook steps up, bottom of the second, and leading the way, Andy Brown, the right fielder, wearing number 17. Brown on the year, batting at 162. He has 3 doubles and 1 home run and 7 runs batted in. First delivery from Fagan, slow and outside, ball 1. It's a beautiful day in Blind Brook. Actually, I should say in Rye Brook today. Fastball cut on and missed, strike 1. 1-1 the count. Temperature, I'd say about 78 degrees. A slight wind from the northwest at about 5 miles an hour. That could be trouble. Nice play by the first baseman, Skokic, and his throw to first to Fagan in time. Nice play by Rob Skokic over at first, diving to keep the ball in his grasp, and a good toss and a good play by Fagan, who was over in time to cover. So if you're scoring at home, that one goes 3-1. And it will bring up now the number 9 hitter, Dave Kramer, number 23, the left fielder. Kramer batting at 243 this season. He has 2 doubles, a home run, and 7 runs batted in. First pitch gets away, ball 1. Excellent play by Skokic over at first base, and an equally impressive attempt by Keith Fagan to get over there in time to make the play. One of the toughest plays to make is that pitcher covering first base. That one lined down the left field line, fair ball. Could be extra bases. Kramer takes the big turn around first. He's going to go as the ball is bobbled in left field, and he will cruise into second base with a stand-up double. So Kramer jumped on an inside fastball and lined it past the outstretched arm of Kevin Olkers at third, right down the line. And Blind Brook's in business with 1 away and Kramer at second base. To the top of the order we go now. Alan Rand, the second baseman, steps in, number 28. He was hit by a pitch by Fagan, stole second base, and then was thrown out by Lacey trying to steal third. Fagan's first. Curveball is high, ball 1. Rand batting at 375 this year. 2 doubles, no home runs, 11 runs batted in. 18 stolen bases this season for Mr. Rand. That fastball is high. 2 balls and no strikes to Alan Rand. Rand, I should say, leads the team in walks this year with 13. Goes after this fastball. 2 balls and a strike. 1 out. Bottom half of the second. Dave Kramer with a double down the left field line is at second. Popped up behind the screen and out of play. So that evens the count at 2-2. Jeff Charney down at third base. Giving a little hitting instruction. No time like the present, coaches will tell you. Big sweeping curveball is high. So that runs the count full, 3-2. See what Charney wants to do here, if he will send Kramer from second. No, he stays. Ball is outside. So Rand is on for the second time in the game with a walk. That's the second walk given up by Fagan in the ball game. Puts runners at first and second, and Rick Blau, the designated hitter. Blau was also hit by a pitch in the first inning. Fagan's first pitch popped up, this one again out of play behind home plate. Strike 1. Now the infield will set up in double play depth. Vaccaro at short and Madison at second playing deep. Of course, Skolich will hold the runner at first base, that being Rand. Line drive, base hit center field. High fastball and Blau cut on it. They're going to try to score Kramer. And he will come in standing up. The ball cut off by Skolich at the pitcher's mound. So an RBI single for Rick Blau. And the Trojans now up 4-0. Rand on the play, stops at second base. That fastball up around the eyes of Rick Blau, and he cut on it and lined it right into center field. This ball comes in. Skolich cut it off at the pitcher's mound. They got the run in, but kept Rand at second base. Here's Mario Ferrante, the shortstop. First pitch is high, ball 1. No activity yet in the Hastings bullpen. Fagan again in a little trouble here in the second. That's in the dirt. 2 balls and no strike to Ferrante. He walked in the first inning, was left strand, or actually came around to score on Rosenberg's homer. Outside, 3 balls and no strikes. Ferrante batting .270 this year. 2 doubles, a home run, 15 runs batted in, and that is low, gets away. Lacey will pick it up, but the runners will advance the 1 base as Ferrante is on with his second walk. The 3rd walk given up by Fagan. And here comes Joe Rosenberg, number 21, the center fielder. He lit up the scoreboard with a 3-run homer over the fence in left center field. And right now coming up with the bases loaded. Fagan's going to have to pitch to him, and he'll come from the full windup. Fastball is high, ball 1.
Wonderful. There's a sandwich here for you. Sandwich here for you.
Well, somebody's getting a sandwich. Again, high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Now Pat Lacey will go out and chat with Fagan, try to settle him down a little bit. He's got good velocity on the ball. He's just having a little trouble keeping it down. And at the same time, Rosenberg chats with his head coach, Jeff Charney. In his second season, he was an assistant, Charney was, here at Blindbrook for 6 years, and spent 5 years before that as an assistant at Portchester. Another high fastball that Rosenberg lays off. Well, they counted 3 balls and no strikes. Rosenberg takes a long look down. The green light may be on here with a 3-0 count. Nope. Fagan finds the inside part of the plate. 3-1 now.
Here we go.
Good hitter's pitch coming up here. 3-1 with the bases loaded. And only 1 out. Foul back. So Fagan runs it full to 3-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Big pitch by Keith Fagan to get Rosenberg swinging for the second out. That is a big out, and the first strikeout registered by Fagan in the ballgame. So a bit of a revenge settled there by Keith Fagan after the 3-run homer, getting Rosenberg to strike out with the bases loaded. Paul Phillips, now the pitcher, can help his cause here. 2 away with the bases loaded. First pitch by Fagan is outside, ball 1. I believe that last pitch was foul tip, so we'll have to give Pat Lacey a little credit there to hold on to it. Line drive, base hit, center field. That'll score 1, possibly 2. Rick Blau is going to come around second, and he will score. Throw again, cut off by Skoich, and the Trojans continue to roll it up. 2 more, they're up 6-0. 2-run single by Paul Phillips. Ferrante on the base hit, moves over to third. And we now have runners at the corner. Said Mark Fink, the third baseman, steps up, number 11. He singled in the first inning. 2 outs. Runners at the corners, popped up. Second baseman, Madison, calling for it, and he'll make the catch. And that will end the inning here in the second, but not before Blindbrook comes up with some more. 3 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and we had 2 left on. As we've completed 2 at Reed Field, it is now Blindbrook 6 and Hastings nothing. More on our Cable 3 Sports Special coming up in just a moment.
Westchester County is getting tough on drunk driving. We're setting up roadblocks on Westchester roads. We won't tell you where, but they'll be there. So remember, if you're drinking and driving, the people you run into could be them. Stop driving while intoxicated. Westchester County.
We make excitement. Showtime excitement.
Showtime's making music excitement in May. It's Music Mania Month, and we'll bring you the national pay cable exclusive premiere of the dance smash Footloose, and an exclusive concert with Huey Lewis and the News, Heart of Rock and Roll. There's more music with The Police, Stevie Wonder, and the movie that started it all, Flashdance. For music excitement, movie excitement, and a lot more, it's Showtime in May.
We make excitement.
We welcome you back to Reed Field. The folks who are out here on a beautiful sunny Friday afternoon, little high school baseball on tap. Go to the top half of the 3rd inning with Blindbrook leading by a score of 3-0. First make that 6-0. We'll talk about the fans at Blindbrook here a little bit. A very enthusiastic bunch. Greg Localio now stepping up to face Paul Phillips. First pitch over, strike 1. Localio, the right fielder, wearing number 4. Batting .267 this year, a junior. Call him Jokey. He's 8 of 30 at the plate. Swings on an outside fastball, strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes. Paul Phillips, the junior, just mowing him down. He's retired the first 6 batters he's faced in this ball game. Little low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, without question, the success that Paul Phillips has experienced here in the first 2 innings is his ability to stay in front of the hitters. Misses outside here. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Consider those basically waste pitches to see if the hitter will chase after him with the 2-strike count on him. That's the luxury that the pitcher faces if he can get a couple of strikes in quickly. This one lined to the left field base hit. So Localio with the first hit of the ball game for Hastings, their first base runner, and a good play as he went with an outside fastball and lined it between the gap of short and third base. Localio at first, no outs, and Stu Cohen, the left fielder, steps up, number 1. Cohen batting at 182 this year. He's a junior. Hastings with a chance to cut into that 6-run Blindbrook lead. First time Phillips has pitched from the stretch in the game. Outside, ball 1. Infield at double play depth. Outfield shaded just a little bit towards left field. Fastball cut on and missed. 1-1. Cohen going after a high fastball. Do not look for Localio to run with Hastings down by 6 runs. Tossed by Phillips, not in time. And now Localio's requesting a little time. Get some of that dirt out of his face. Beautiful ballpark at Reed Field. In excellent shape. And a big ballpark as well. Another toss over. This one a little closer. One pitch to Cohen. Runner goes, swung on and missed, throw down a second. In time. Nice toss by Joe Lanzetta. A one-hopper to Alan Rand. And Localio is gone. 2-4. Oh, an interesting maneuver there by John Morabito, if indeed he sent Localio. Localio may have run on his own, but a little surprising, down by 6. So the runner is gone, 1 away, and here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So Cohen goes down swinging. That's the 4th strikeout registered by Phillips. And now the number 9 hitter, Chris Madison, the second baseman. Madison will come from the right-hand side of the plate wearing number 18, batting 100 this year. He is a senior. So nobody on now, and 2 away. Top half of the 3rd inning. A little bit outside. Well, another afternoon for the Cable people to work on that good base tan before that summer gets here. There's a slow roller down to third, booted by Mark Fink, and no play. We're going to give an error over to the third baseman, Mark Fink. Slow roller, but in any event, Madison is on, and that is the first error of the ball game. In case you were wondering, even though Maneri isn't here, we had a chance to accumulate some more golf stories. Our director, Tony Koash, played Mr. Amazing yesterday. We'll tell you about in a little while. Bill Kennedy now, leadoff hitter. Popped to second, his first appearance. That in the first inning. Runner at first with 2 away. Fastball's inside, ball 1. Phillips with the pitch. That's outside, ball 2. Well, this is something that has not plagued Paul Phillips so far in the ball game, being behind on the count. But right now he is behind Billy Kennedy at 2 balls, no strikes, with Chris Madison down at first base. Up the middle. And a nice play by the shortstop, Mario Ferrante, as he steps at second base to retire Chris Madison. So for the Yellow Jackets here in the 3rd inning, no runs on 1 hit. We had 1 Blindbrook error and 1 left on after 2.5 now at Rye Brook High School. Make that Blindbrook High School. It is 6-0. The Trojans leading the Yellow Jackets. Well, I have to tell you, we had our very first Westchester Miniature Golf Association tour stop yesterday afternoon. And our director, Tony Koash, being down by a stroke, coming to 18, came up with a beautiful hole-in-one and walked away with the free game prize. That was the purse for the first tournament. Tony Koash showed us he knows how to maneuver through the obstacles in a miniature golf course. Did a beautiful job, I have to admit. And then took all our money over at a video arcade on a golf machine. Now, if we could only get him to play the real golf, he'd be in great shape. But we know if we have to take any money from him, we know where to bring him. Bottom half of the third inning coming up now. The Trojans up 6-0. 3 runs in the first and 3 runs in the second. And leading the way will be Joe Lanzetta, the catcher. Lanzetta bounced to second base to end the first inning. His only appearance, he's 0 for 1. Batting at .395 this year. Great season for Lanzetta. 3 doubles, 2 triples, 2 homers, 14 runs batted in. All leading or tied for the lead on this Blind Brook team. Keith Fagan still out on the mound. He's given up 6 runs so far. First pitch inside, ball 1. In the hole, base hit. Lanzetta gets his first hit of the day. That is number 6 for the Trojans in the ball game, and we'll bring up Andy Brown. Brown was the one who was involved in the real fine defensive play by Rob Skolich down at first base. He had a squibber in the hole. Skolich dove to make the catch, and then Fagan coming over to cover. Pitched inside. Lanzetta down at first with nobody out. Lanzetta with 10 stolen bases this year. There's an inside fastball that Brown goes after. 1-1 the count. Look at Dave Kramer on deck. This one, little pop fly. Second baseman Chris Madison on the outfield grass makes the catch, and that's the first out of the ball of this inning. Lanzetta, of course, remains at first, and now Dave Kramer, the number 9 hitter, steps up. He powered a double down the left field line, his first appearance in the second inning, so he is 1 for 1. Came around to score eventually on the single by Rick Blau. Runner goes on the pitch, throw down a second, not in time. So Lanzetta, with his 11th stolen base of the season, goes on the first pitch and puts him in scoring position now. And Dave Kramer, count of 0-1 to him. Kramer with 3 doubles now. He has 1 home run and 7 runs batted in. Line drive, base hit, left field, and it gets past, goes all the way to the wall. Lanzetta scores easily, and Kramer cruises into second with his 2nd straight double. So Kramer having a field day on the deliveries of Keith Fagan. Gives him 4 doubles on the season, and that gives him the team lead in that category. As you see Lanzetta hustling around third, he scores easily. And Kramer back at second base. 1 away, and we go to the top of the order. Alan Rand, who's made an appearance now in each of the innings. Here in the third, he's been on twice, hit by a pitch in the first, walked in the second, and he'll face Keith Fagan for the 3rd time. First pitch on the outside corner, strike 1. Kramer down at second, 1 away. That pitch is high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kramer now with 8 RBIs on the year. As we mentioned, taking over the team leadership in doubles with 4. 2 of them in this ball game. Swung on and missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Alan Rand. Fagan looking for a 2nd strikeout of the afternoon. Foul back. There's a low outside pitch, but Rand, feeling that he had to protect the plate with 2 strikes, went after it. Well, the count remains at 1-2. Blind Brook, the defending Class C Section 1 champions. They won it all last year in Section 1. Then an intersectional play, lost in the first round to North Rockland. inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Blind Brook, however, with just 3 returning starters from last year's team. Runner goes. Pitches on the inside corner, called strike 3, and the throw down to third not in time. So Rand is eliminated on the called strike 3, but Kramer able to move down to third base with the stolen base. And Kramer, that is the 19th stolen base on the season, also leading the team in that category. But now, however, 2 away. And Rick Blau, the designated hitter. Blau with an RBI single in the second inning. He eventually came around to score as well, and he was hit by a pitch in the first and also came around to score. Foul tip into the mid of Pat Lacey, strike 1. Dave Kramer down to third. 2 away, 1 run in here in the third inning for the Trojans. Swung on and missed, strike 2. Good curveball that broke away from Blau. 0-2 now. No activity in the Hastings bullpen. Keith Fagan just trying to get out of the jam. This one rolling foul into the stands. Fagan pitching out of the stretch with Kramer down at third base. Sweeping curveball misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That gets away. Lacey hustling, but not going to be in time. Kramer scores from third base, and we'll make that a wild pitch as Kramer comes in from third to score. So it is now 8-0 in favor of Blind Brook here in the third. Two-two pitch. Bouncer, shortstop. Vaccaro snuffs it, but won't have a play. Nice attempt by John Vaccaro. We'll make that an infield hit for Blau. Vaccaro with a nice play to keep it in the infield, but no chance to get the speedy Blau at first base. So Mario Ferrante now will step up. He's walked the first 2 times. He's appeared at the plate. 2 away. Fagan tosses to first, not in time. Blau with 10 stolen bases this year. He is a threat to run, especially when you're up 8-0. Gonna get that runner over into scoring position. Lacey is 1 of 2 in stolen base attempts in this game. Again, Fagan over to first. Blau with a pretty good lead, about 4 steps. Runner holds, line drives, left field, base hit. Stu Cohen plays it in front of him, comes into third. So now runners at first and second. Ferrante with his first hit of the day. And here comes Joe Rosenberg again, the center fielder. In the bottom of the first inning, he hit a 3-run homer over the left center field fence. And then in the second inning, came up with the bases loaded and 1 out. And Fagan with a great recovery. He was at 3-0 against Rosenberg and came back to strike him out. So another big play here for Fagan. First pitch is high, ball 1. 2 outs, runners at first and second. 2 runs already in here in the third for the Trojans, who lead now 8-0. That's on the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. Runners hold, that's high. 2 away, 2 balls and a strike. swings after the curveball and misses. That evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Joe Rosenberg with 3 home runs this season. That's in the dirt. So again, the count now full at 3-2. Rosenberg with 14 runs batted in and a .395 batting average, .342 batting average. Big pitch here by Fagan. High, ball 4, so Rosenberg is on. And that again loads him up. That was to the liking of Paul Phillips in the last inning. He came up with 2 outs and the bases loaded and promptly lined a 2-run single into left field. And again comes up, same situation, bases loaded and 2 away. Fagan will go with a full windup. First pitch is a little high, ball 1. Low, ball 2. 2-0. Paul Phillips, we told you the pitcher, but a pretty good batting average of .370. That's low, 3-0. Phillips coming into this game, actually right now with 2 doubles, a triple, a homer, and 11 runs batted in. Misses ball 4, so that's another RBI for Paul Phillips. The easy way with the bases on balls gives him a total of 3 on the day. As Blau scores from third, Ferrante moves up to third. Rosenberg now down to second. It's the 5th walk given up by Fagan in the ball game. And now he'll face the 9th man in this inning, Mark Fink, the 3rd baseman. Fink singled in the first, popped up to second in the second. And the first pitch from Fagan is over strike 1 as the ball gets away. Well, the runners will hold. Trojans remain consistent. They've scored 3 runs so far in each inning. They're up 9-0. One foul out of play off the right-hand side. Fink way behind on that swing. So Fagan now ahead of the count at no balls, 2 strikes. Bases loaded, 2 away. Grounder, Vaccaro at short. Up with it, he'll flip to second for the easy out. And the inning is over, but again, the Trojans have come up with 3 runs on a total of 4 hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on base. At the end of 3 complete at Reed Field, it is Blind Brook 9, Hastings nothing. More baseball coming up in just a moment.
I love reading old newspapers. I found this one in my folks' attic, Lusitania Sunk. Gives you a great idea of what life was like in those days. Look at these prices. Loaf of bread, 9 cents. Dozen eggs, 15 cents. Pound of butter, 9 cents. Things sure have changed. There's no doubt that basic cable TV makes me and my family the best informed, the best educated, the most entertained people in the world today. Basic cable service brings over 700 hours of television into my home each and every day, and for only 34 cents. At these prices, basic cable TV belongs in this paper. That's why I'm getting basic cable television from UA Columbia Cablevision of Westchester, our best entertainment value.
9-0 our scores. We're moving to the top half of the 4th inning at Reed Field. Side of our Cable 3 Sports Special, high school baseball. Blind Brook and Hastings, a Conference C South affair. Mr. Pat Burke has joined us today. Oh, was that who the sandwich was for? It was. Okay. Here's Pat Lacey now, the catcher, number 10. Lacey fly to right field, his only appearance, that in the 1st inning. Paul Phillips, very good outing to date. Only a 1-hitter after the first 3 innings. His first pitch to Lacey is low, ball 1. slow roller. Ferrante at short. The throw just in time. Pretty good speed by Pat Lacey. Almost able to beat that routine grounder to short. But Ferrante with a strong throw, and we have one away. John Vaccaro now, the shortstop. He was called out on a third strike in the first inning. So 0-for-1. Just to give you an idea on how well Paul Phillips is pitching, we've only had one ball hit out of the infield. That a line drive to right center that was caught by Lacey. We've had 4 strikeouts registered by Phillips and only 1 ground ball. The rest have been pop-ups. Here's another one. Second baseman Alan Rand makes the play, 2 away. That a fastball on the inside, and it looked like a jam. Vaccaro hit it off of the handle. Second put out by Alan Rand of the ball game. 2 away, and Kevin Olkers, number 6, the third baseman, steps up. Olkers also struck out. That in the second inning, so he is now at 0-for-1. Olkers batting at .474 this year. 2 home runs, 9 runs batted in. He's a junior. Also doubles as a pitcher. First pitch cut on, strike 1. Paul Phillips continues to mow him down. He's only let 1 runner on, a base hit by Greg Localio, and then he was erased trying to steal. Pitch is outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two outs, nobody on. Top of the 4th inning. Curveball misses. 2 balls and a strike. Paul Phillips, a junior, coming into today's action with a record of 4-2. His Trojans at 12-3 overall, 9-1 in conference play. Currently leading C-South by 2 games over Tuckahoe. That pitch is outside, so now the count at 3 balls and a strike to Kevin Olkers. Right down the middle, 3-2 now. And Olkers steps back in. Phillips so far with 4 strikeouts. Notched in his belt. Popped up. May be playable. Lanzetta. And it came back into play. Unable to make the catch. Over towards the Hastings dugout. It's one rule that young catchers will learn as they continue to play is that a pop fly behind home plate will always come back towards home plate. And be rest assured Lanzetta will learn a lesson from that one. As indeed it did come back, and he overran it. This one, a deep drive to center field, going back, Joe Rosenberg, and he able to hold, can't quite come up with it, as it goes off of the fence, and a double by Kevin Olkers. Thought for a second that Rosenberg at center field was able to come up with a play. That one was tagged by Olkers as he hit it to deep center, as you can see here. And, well, Rosenberg with a nifty little dance out there turned the wrong way twice, and the ball dropped in over his head. That's to the deepest part of the ballpark, 417 out there. So he hit it about 415. So Hastings in business here with 2 outs and a runner at second. Bill Malenchik now the designated hitter. First pitch swung on and missed, strike 1. Malenchik also struck out, his only appearance, that in the second inning. Only the second hit given up by Phillips in the game. Curveball misses high and tight. 1 ball and 1 strike. See the shadows starting to creep across the field. Left field is our sun field today. Gentlemen playing out there have got to take a tough look into the sun on a fly ball. Their play at second was on with the shortstop Mario Ferrante cutting in behind Kevin Olkers. Popped up. And coming in, whole bunch of players. And reaching up and making the play, the third baseman, Mark Fink. He cut right in front of Mario Ferrante. But nevertheless, the inning has come to an end, and Hastings still has not cracked the scoreboard. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and we had 1 left on as we have completed 3.5 at Reed Field here at Blind Brook High School, and it remains Blind Brook 9 and Hastings nothing. Maybe right now we can show you what we have down the road here at Cable 3 as our spring sports schedule continues to roll along. Next up, here at Cable 3, we will have some more high school baseball for you this coming Tuesday and Wednesday nights at 8 and 9 o'clock respectively. We'll take a look at the Catholic high school leagues as the Iona Prep Gales take on the Crusaders of Stepanak. And that one will be at Delfino Park in White Plains, under the lights in White Plains. And we'll have Iona Prep against Stepanak for you. So we'll hope you'll be there for that. It's good to see Pete Leone sitting here today. Ow, that hurt. Some of the other folks who are here as well. It's a beautiful afternoon for a ball game. Talking earlier, I think temperature about 80 degrees, maybe 79. A cool ocean breeze blowing from the northwest at about 8 to 10 miles per hour. We've got a pretty good ball game so far. 9-0 is our score with Blind Brook on top, but both teams playing very well. Keith Fagan, however, for Hastings has got himself into some jams. Maybe he'll have an easy inning here. Slow roller. Vaccaro at short makes the play, and Joe Lanzetta is out 6-3 to open up this 4th inning. Lanzetta with pretty good speed, hustling down the lines, but a good throw by Vaccaro nails him for out number 1. Lanzetta before that at-bat was 1 of 2. Has only hit a single in the 3rd inning, and he came around to score. Andy Brown now steps up 0 for 2 in the game. His 3rd appearance here in the 4th inning. Reaches on a curveball. Strike 1. Lou Iacomini from Yonkers behind the plate calling balls and strikes. Ted Gale out on the bases. There's a drive to right center field. Greg Localio on his horse, and he makes the catch. That one also tagged by Andy Brown, but just a long out. Localio able to chase it down. 2 away, and Dave Kramer, the left fielder, steps up. Kramer at 2 for 2 today, 2 doubles, has scored twice, and has driven in a run. The number 9 hitter. Kramer has really worked on his average coming into the game at 243, but all of a sudden has taken over the team lead in doubles and in stolen bases, as he had 1 in his after his second double. 0-1 pitch, ground ball to Vaccaro at short, gets a nice hop here. Throw in time, so Keith Fagan finally gets the easy inning as Blind Brook for the first time in the ball game goes down quietly. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. We've completed 4 at Blind Brook High School on our Cable 3 Sports Special with the score, the Trojans 9 and the Yellow Jackets nothing.
There's a changing world out there, and so much of it we want to share with you. CNN, showing life from every point of view. And just because we care, we're always there. CNN tells it right, your window on the world both day and night. You will see faces that make history, the laughter and the tears, the hopes and fears. CNN on the go, because you have the right to know the score. Where there's war, tribulation, new sensations, we bring you so much more. I witnessed the incredible, experienced the wonderful, the joy, the peace, the world within your reach. Experience life on CNN.
Gilbert Sullivan is here, isn't he? That's the Jackie Gleason poster, isn't it? I knew it. I knew it. I've seen that enough. We've got some defensive changes for Blind Brook as we're going to the top half of the 5th inning. New left fielder For the Trojans, Frank Gabriel. You see him out there, number 22. He is the senior. And stepping to the plate for Hastings is Rob Skolich. Dave Kramer, who was out in left field, number 23, is now moved over to right field. And Andy Brown is the gentleman who has taken the seat on the bench. So Frank Gabriel, the senior, our new left fielder. Rob Skolich, the first baseman, 0 for 1 in the ball game. Popped up to Seth Marcus over at first base in foul territory. That ended the second inning. 9-0 the score, top half of the fifth inning. We are scheduled for 7. Trojans looking to improve on their 9-1 conference record as that pitch is over the knees, called strike, and we are at 1-2. Phillips, delivery, fastball to the second baseman, Alan Rand, and he boots it. So the second error picked up by Blindbrook in this ball game as Skolich goes on E4. Leadoff hitter is on board, and Greg Localio, the right fielder, steps up. He got the first hit of the ball game for Hastings, that in the third inning on a single to the opposite field. But then Joe Lanzetta threw him out, trying to steal. So that makes 4 base runners for Hastings. 2 hits and 2 errors. Phillips is yet to walk a batter in this game. He has struck out 4. Localio calls time. If you were with us earlier, you might remember in the third inning, Hastings down 6-0, and Localio, who was on base at the time, tried to steal second base and was thrown out. That pitch is over, called strike. The head coach, John Morabito, came over in between innings and said that it was a missed sign on Localio's part. He thought the hit and run was on when in fact it wasn't. So a little mental mistake there, and that took Hastings right out of it. So we mentioned we're a little surprised being down 6-0 why Localio would steal, but he just missed a sign. First time that Hastings has had the leadoff hitter on in the ball game. This one fouled back over the truck and out of play. Another souvenir for a happy fan. We've had to keep Pete Leone tied down. Keeps wanting to chase after the baseball. Something about picking him up and selling him later. I don't know. At least he's not sleeping this time. There's no place like Eastchester where you bring the balls back and you get a free ice cream cone. Leone cleaned up that one afternoon we were there. Throw over to first is not in time. And Pete a little under the weather, we understand. We're sorry. Just too bad. Low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Craig Localio, the right fielder. 1 for 1 in the ball game.
See how many tires your car has later.
Nobody out, runner at first. Fouled again behind the truck and out of play. Well, the count remains 2-2. Find the baseball. All right. There's Peter. Looks a little peaked. It's always a pleasure to have Pete sit here with us in the booth. 2-2 pitch. Line. Fair ball. Just down out of the reach of Seth Marcus. Localio on his horse. He's going to try for 2. Here's the throw. And it kicks off his heel and goes into left field. Hastings is going to score a run. Big break there for the Yellow Jackets. It looked like they were going to get Localio at second. The throw came in, and the ball tipped off of his leg and kicked into left field. Now, Jeff Charney, the head coach of Blindbrook, is coming out saying that the ball got caught up in some heavy stuff in right field, and he's looking for a 2-base hit, which would mean that Skolich would have to go back to third. Now we'll have a conference between Jeff Charney, Ted Gale, and Lou Iacone. But that one, a shot by Localio just past the grasp of Seth Marcus down at first base and inside the line. And I believe Jeff Charney has won his argument. He has. They're going to send Localio back to second, and that means Skokic will have to come back out, and he'll go back to third base. So it is ruled a ground rule double for Greg Localio. Be interesting to see had they gotten Localio at second if Mr. Charney would have come out and protested the call. You don't even have to ask. You know he wouldn't be out there. There's the lucky fan who came up with the baseball. All right, so Hastings now in business with runners at second and third. Nobody out, and Stu Cohen, the left fielder, stepping up. He's 0 for 1, struck out in the third inning. And coincidentally enough, that was the last strikeout that Paul Phillips had. Laid off the high fastball. They get a little help from Ted Gale out on the bases, and he said no, he did not go around. So 1 ball, no strikes the count. You look down at third, Rob Skokic with John Morabito, the head coach of the Yellow Jackets. Phillips in deep trouble. Most trouble he's been in this ball game. Misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes to Stu Cohen, the left fielder. Cohen batting at 182 this year. He is a junior outfielder. Ninja is his nickname. Revenge of the Ninja? Is that a movie? That's low. 3 balls and no strikes. Cohen takes a long look down at third base to John Morabito. See if indeed the green light is on with the 3-0 pitch up and coming. 2 runners in scoring position. Localio at second, Skokic down at third. Phillips now takes his time, steps off the rubber. And now Cohen will take some time. 9-0 the score. Bottom or top half of the 5th inning. Hastings threatening with runners at second and third and nobody out. Phillips from the full windup. That's over, called strike, and Cohen taking all the way. So again, the meeting of the minds all over the field. We've got a meeting between Lanzetta and Phillips, the battery, and we've got one between Cohen and his head coach, Morabito. John Morabito, right there in his 8th season as head coach of the Hastings Yellow Jackets. He is 2-time defending C-South champions. They were the #1 seed in the tournament last year, but lost to Bronxville, the number 16 seeds. That one finds the corner. Strike 2. So Phillips showing a little muster here as he comes back to run the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Then Phillips steps off the rubber. Foul back. Came in with a fastball on the inside part of the plate. Cohen just able to get around on the ball and foul it straight back. So that keeps the count full at 3-2. Wind is blowing in, so it's not going to help. Balls hit to the outfield. 3-2 pitch inside, ball 4. So Cohen is on. That is the first walk given up by Paul Phillips in the ball game, but more importantly, it loads them up. And Chris Madison, the number 9 hitter and our second baseman, steps up with the sacks full. Nobody out. Madison reached on an error in the 3rd. Mark Finnick booted his slow roller. So he is 0 for 1 with his second appearance at the plate. Big rally now for the Yellow Jackets. On the outside corner. Hastings with a win yesterday. They were on a 3-game winning streak. Beat Hamilton yesterday afternoon, 15-9. Curveball misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. John Morabito down at third, telling Chris Madison, just hit the ball. Don't worry about me. He's got to make contact here. And he kind of went into the bucket there, bailed out a little bit, and missed a fastball. And we're at 1-2 now to Madison. Swing and a miss and a foul tip. Caught by Joe Lanzetta, but more importantly, that is out number 1 here in the 5th inning. Strikeout number 5 for Phillips in the day. And we go to the top of the order. Bill Kennedy steps up. Kennedy at 0 for 2 today, popped up to second in the first and ended the third on a fielder's choice. So he is also making his 3rd appearance at the plate. 5th inning, 1 out, but the bases are loaded. And you know John Morabito does not want to come away empty-handed here. Time running out. As we mentioned, we are scheduled for 7. And we're here in the top half of the 5th inning. Popped up. That should be the infield fly rule. It is. It's called. Seth Marcus makes the catch in foul territory, but Kennedy called out as soon as the ball went up in the air. 2 away. Bases still loaded. In case you're not aware of fielder's choice, with less than 2 outs, and in this case with the bases loaded, or if you have runners at first and second, they'll call the batter automatically out if it's a pop fly in the infield, hence the infield fly rule. And that just to keep away from infielders dropping the ball and picking up the quick double play. So now Yellow Jackets, after loading them up with nobody out, now with 2 away, and Pat Lacey 0 for 2 in the ball game. Fly to right in the first, bounced to short in the 4th. Fly ball, right field. Dave Kramer, and he couldn't find it. It drops in, base hit. Throw down to the plate, not in time, and the Yellow Jackets come up with 2. It looked like Dave Kramer had a beat on the ball. It wasn't hit all that deep. He started back, but then came in a hurry, and it drops in front of him. You'll have another look at it. You can see that Lacey threw the bat down in disgust, thinking that it would be caught easily, but Kramer seemed to lose it. And 2 runs in, so a break there for the Yellow Jackets. A 2-run single by Pat Lacey. Lacey improves on his .342 batting average, and Hastings is on the board. Now John Vaccaro, the shortstop, 0 for 2. Called out on strikes in the first and popped to second in the 4th. Throw over to first, not in time. On that play, Skokic scored from third, Localio from second. Stu Cohen went around to third. Of course, everybody running with 2 away on the play. And Lacey down at first. A gift double. He'll run. Throw down is cut off by the second baseman, Alan Rand. But more importantly, the Yellow Jackets able to get another runner in scoring position as Lacey comes up with the stolen base. 1 ball, no strike, the count to John Vaccaro. 2 runs in for the Yellow Jackets here in the 5th. They trail now 9-2. 2 more and put them right back in this one. That's low. 2 balls and no strikes. Vaccaro with 9 RBIs on the season, one of the co-captains, a .462 batting average. So this is the man you want to have the bat at the plate. On the outside corner. Vaccaro steps back in. It's quite a gap in right center field. The right fielder, Dave Kramer, almost hugging the right field line, while the center fielder, Joe Rosenberg, playing straight away. As that one goes low, 3 balls and a strike. Phillips, with first base open, can't afford to pitch Vaccaro very carefully. But on deck is Kevin Olkers, who had a double in the 4th inning. Mario Ferranti comes over to settle Phillips down just a little bit. 3 balls and a strike to John Vaccaro. If he puts one outside and Vaccaro's able to go with it, I mentioned a big gap in right center. And it was an outside pitch, but that one did get the corner of the plate. And the count now full at 3-2. John Morabito comes down the line a little bit, shaking his head at Lou Giacomini, our home plate umpire. So big pitch here for Phillips with 2 outs and runners at 2nd and 3rd. Line drive, base hit up the middle. They're going to try to wave around Lacey, and the throw is cut off, so a 2 RBI single by John Vaccaro. And the Yellow Jackets have now exploded for 4 runs here in the 5th inning, battling themselves back into this ball game. They now trail 9-4. As you see, a fastball right down the middle of the plate. Vaccaro lining it up the middle. Lacey scores from 2nd. Cohen from 3rd. And Kevin Olkers now at the plate. Olkers 1 of 2. Struck out in the 2nd swinging and doubled in the 4th. First pitch is over, strike 1. I'm reminded he hit a rocket in the 4th for his double. 2 away, Vaccaro down at first base. Phillips from the stretch. Curveball a little bit outside. Olkers tried to wait on it and then went after it. Fouled it off the mask of Joe Lanzetta. One ball, 2 strike pitch on the way to Kevin Olkers. Fouled straight back. Keeps Olkers alive. Four runs in for the Yellow Jackets in the 5th inning. A 2-run single by Pat Lacey and a 2-run single by John Vaccaro. It looked like Paul Phillips was going to get out of this jam. He had the bases loaded with nobody out. Got a strikeout and a pop fly. And then the 2 singles. Phillips, a long time with his delivery now. Popped up, straight back. That's Leone's if he wants it. And he couldn't play that one. That one between the fence and the truck. There's about a foot between the two. Well, it's a foul ball. And I hate to report Leone didn't even make a run for it. Well, the count stays at 1 ball, 2 strikes. He was right there. That's a guy right on the play. Scott Armsworthy, is that who that is? Throw over to first, not in time. Kevin Olkers hanging tough. Curveball, just foul back. Foul ball, they'll say. Olkers thought that he didn't get a piece of it. Joe Lanzetta just not able to hold on to it. So again, Olkers now fouled off 3 in a row. Staying alive with a count of 1-2 with 2 outs. And John Vaccaro down at first base. Shadows now covering home plate. His throw to first not in time. Makes it a little difficult for the hitters because the pitcher is in full sunlight and the ball is coming from sunlight into the shadows. That one foul back. Olkers hanging tough at the plate with 2 strikes on him. Probably by the time Hastings comes back up in the 6th inning, the shadows should be covering the pitcher's mound, so that should help all the hitters concerned. But right now, Olkers just concerned about getting the ball in play. He's fouled off 4 in a row. That one's high. 1-2. Vaccaro down at first base. Curveball misses high. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kevin Olkers, the third baseman. 1 for 2 today. Paul Phillips and Joe Lanzetta again getting together. Phillips, his record 4-2 this season, was cruising right along, but here in the 5th, giving up 4 runs on 3 hits. Throw to first, again not in time. Vaccaro dives back safely. This one may be in play. Lanzetta. And he can't come up with it again. It came back. Just overran it by a little. But that would have gotten the Trojans out of the jam. As you watch, it'll come back. It always does. The Olkers with a new life. Earl Weaver used to say that when that happens, that means that lightning is about to strike. When you give that batter another opportunity when he should have been retired, something usually happens. Well, Weaver wasn't right there. Olkers went after a high fastball, and Phillips sends him down. 6 strikeout, but the Yellow Jackets come up with 4 runs on 3 hits. We had 1 Blind Brook error and 1 left on. So at the end of 4.5 at Reed Field here in Rye Brook, New York, it is now Blind Brook 9 and Hastings 4. Well, we of course have other events scheduled here at Cable 3 that'll be coming your way in the near future. Included in our sports special package will be the softball game of the week, without question a summertime favorite. And we'll be coming to a town near you. We've just listed some of the places we'll be visiting. Rye, Hastings, Scarsdale, New Rochelle, Irvington, plus more. We'll have a game a week beginning in June and running through August. So we'll hope you'll look out for us and see some of the finer recreational softball teams in Westchester County as they'll perform for you on the tube. I heard somebody say turn around and wave. It's kind of like Pavlov's dog when you think about it. Camera is on, wave. There's Big Gilbert. Gilbert Sullivan. Just join us again here at another Cable 3 event. Like he has nothing else to do. Put the sign down, Gilbert. There you go. He's personal friends, incidentally, with Jackie Gleason. He got permission from the Great One to use his picture. That's not Earl Gibbons, is it? Bottom half of the 5th inning. Blind Brook up 9-4. After the Yellow Jackets with 4 in their half of the 5th. Alan Rand will lead things off for the Trojans here in the 5th inning. He is 0 for 1 today, but has been on base 2 times, was hit by a pitch in the first, walked and came around to score in the second, and then was called out on strikes in the 3rd inning. And Keith Fagan, who's still out on the mound with a new life now, trailing by 5, with his Yellow Jackets still to get 2 more at-bats. Curveball is over. Believe it is no balls and 2 strikes. No, make that 1-1, the count. That's high. 2 balls and a strike to Alan Rand. Rand leads the team with walks. He has 14. Lays off of this one. And the count now at 3 balls and a strike. Fagan, who had his easiest inning last inning, got the Trojans to go 1-2-3. That one fouled and out of play. So again, we find ourselves with a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody on, none out. Bottom of the 5th inning. The host Trojans leading the visiting Yellow Jackets 9-4. Curveball outside, ball 4. Rand is on for the 3rd time in the game. 2nd walk. And that is the 6th walk given up by Keith Fagan in the ball game. Rick Blau now having a good afternoon at the plate, the designated hitter. Hit by a pitch in the 1st, came around to score. Singled to drive in a run in the 2nd, came around to score. Singled in the 3rd, also came around to score. So he is 2 for 2 with a run batted in, and he has scored 3 times. Blau, the designated hitter. Batting at .405 this year. First pitch is low, ball 1. Keith Fagan has gone the distance. He's had his problems in the early going. Gave up 3 runs in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd innings. There's a shot down to Vaccaro at short. Comes up with it. Goes to 2nd for 1. Throw to 1st. Not in time. So they eliminate the lead runner, Alan Rand, who goes down 6-4. Blau replaces him over at 1st on the fielder's choice. 1 away, and Mario Ferrante, the shortstop, will step up. He has walked twice and singled. Has scored a run. 1 out. Blau now down at first base. Curveball misses outside. At the end of our ball game, we'll of course have the winning coach. Talk a little bit about today's ball game. Fly ball, center field. Billy Kennedy underneath, makes the catch, and that'll be the 2nd out of the inning. And Joe Rosenberg, the number 4 hitter and the center fielder. He hit a 3-run homer in the 1st over the left center field fence. Struck out in the 2nd and walked in the 3rd. 1 for 2 today with 3 RBIs. Throw over to 1st. Not in time. Nice play by Rob Skulich. Keep it in front of him. 2 outs. Runner at 1st. Fagan again looking for a relatively easy inning. Curveball is high. Runner goes. Throw. Not in time. Blau gets the base stolen. First stolen base for Rick Blau in this ball game. He now has a total of 11 on the season. Tough pitch for Pat Lacey to throw him out. A big sweeping curveball that took a while to get to the plate. Blau had the throw beaten easily. 1 ball, no strikes the count to Joe Rosenberg with 2 outs, and now Rick Blau down at 2nd. Another curveball. This one swung on and missed. Evens it up at 1-1. High. Two balls and 1 strike. 2-1 the count, 2 outs. Swung on and missed. 2-2. High rising fastball. May have been out of the strike zone, but Rosenberg decided to go after it. I got to tell you, he really creamed a pitch in the 1st inning. He got a fastball up around his eyes, and he tagged it over the left center field fence. But this time, he goes out on the slow curveball. A beautiful pitch by Keith Fagan as he gets Rosenberg to go down rather quietly. And in the 5th for the Trojans, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on. 5 innings complete now in the books. And it's Blind Brook 9, Hastings 4. More baseball coming up in just a moment.
Look, guys, this is our big chance. We're to tell them Sports Channel isn't ESPN. Sports Channel's the one that gives you all of us.
Yeah!
You get the Mets, the Yankees.
Way to go.
The Islanders.
All right.
And Nets. The Nets.
Chocolate Thunder.
Sports Channel. It's the only one big enough to cover all of us.
Sports Channel. We've got New York sports covered. If you're a New York sports fan, call your cable company to order Sports Channel today.
Do you think you could hold on to a child in an accident and save him from hitting the windshield? Let's look. A sudden stoppage at 35 miles per hour could propel a child forward with a force of nearly a ton. Holding that child back would be like trying to hold back a bullet as it's fired from a gun. To protect your child, use a car seat designed for young children. This message is from the Will Rogers Institute, White Plains, New York.
A happy, smiling face. It's a Superman t-shirt. That's a nice looking t-shirt. 3D? Not quite. The fit of fashion here at Blind Brook. You know, I was mentioning earlier about the fans. What an enthusiastic group they have. We did a basketball game here earlier in the season as Hastings comes up here in the top half of the 6th inning. Bill Malenchik leading it off. We did a Blind Brook Rhineck basketball game. Two of the most vocal contingents in one gym I've ever seen. And they have not disappointed us again this afternoon. Malenchik with a count of 2 balls and no strikes to him. Hastings has battled themselves back into this ball game. They trail 9-4 with 2 at-bats coming, 6th and 7th inning. Malenchik 0 for 2 in the game. Slow roller down to third base. Fink is going to have to hurry. The throw is in time. Nice scoop by Seth Marcus over at first base. Fink had to really hurry the throw, but got it there in time. 1 away. Rob Sokic now the first baseman. He is 0 for 2. Fouled out to the first baseman in the 2nd, Seth Marcus, and then reached on an error in the 5th, but came around to score. A little bit inside, ball 1. Top of the 6th inning. We're scheduled for 7. Curveball misses. Up on the scoreboard, 1 ball and 1 strike. With 1 out and nobody on. A Conference C South matchup, Blind Brook and Hastings. This one fouled straight back and out of play. So that makes the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Blind Brook leading the C South race this season by 2 games over Tuckahoe. Hastings in 4th place, with Dobbs Ferry settling in at 3rd. Well, Skokic went after an outside curveball, missed it. He goes down for the count, and that is strikeout number 7 by Paul Phillips. And we'll bring up Greg Localio, the right fielder. Localio with a pretty good afternoon, 2 for 2 today, a single in the 3rd and a double in the 5th inning. Had an RBI taken away from him after Jeff Charney made an appeal play. Localio lined one down the line in right field, but got hung up in some heavy grass. This time he goes the other way. This is a tough play coming on. Frank Gabriel, he can't come up with it, and it's a fair ball. And it will go all the way to the wall. Localio will cruise into second base with a double. We told you the left field is indeed the sun field. They're looking right up into it. And Gabriel, a little troubled, even with the sunglasses. Another look at it here. Localio showing us he can go either way. And nice try by Gabriel out in left field. But it slipped underneath his glove, and that is the second double for Greg Localio. Puts him down at second base with 2 outs, and Stu Cohen steps up. Cohen's is 0 for 1. He drives one to deep center field, but standing right there, Joe Rosenberg, and he only had to move about 2 steps. So the threat, what there was of it, ends very quickly for Hastings here in the 6th. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and we had 1 left on. We go now to the bottom half of the 6th inning with the score remaining. Blind Brook 9 and Hastings 4. There's our electronic graphics man, Paul Gluck, the executive producer. This is exactly what executive producers are supposed to do. They come out here to make sure that I'm comfortable, I have a soda, and then they look at that. The benefits of cable. It's wonderful. But they didn't get a look at that guy. We have one more break, I believe, and we could throw it up in a real hurry. We've got another exciting event, which is right down your alley. Get it, Pete? Youth bowling. We're going to visit the Post Bowling Center in White Plains, and we'll have two different matches for you, a scratch and handicap division, and you'll be able to see that Tuesday, May 28th at 8 p.m. and Thursday, May 30th at 8:30 p.m. And always a favorite, right down your alley, the Youth Bowling Tour. They'll make their stop at the Post Bowling Center in White Plains. There's Jeff DeCua. He's down the third base side. Bottom half of the sixth inning now. Paul Phillips will lead things off for the Trojans. Phillips, the pitcher who has gone the distance, has had a pretty good day at the bat as well. He is 1 for 2 today, flied out to right in the first, then singled to drive in 2 runs in the second, and promptly lines a single here, right up the middle into center field. Phillips also, in the third inning, walked to drive in a run, so he is now 2 for 3 with 3 runs batted in.
Yeah.
Good way to help your own cause. Paul Phillips, who, if he get out of one more inning, will come away with his 5th win of the year. Mark Fink now will step up, the third baseman. He singled in the first, popped up to the second baseman in the fourth, and grounded to short in the third. And we're going to have a pinch runner coming in now. Number 18, David Fisher, who is a junior, and he will become a courtesy runner for Paul Phillips, the pitcher. And we've had some other games earlier this season where one of the rules allows you to have a courtesy runner for both the pitcher if he indeed hits. A lot of times, most of the time, I would say, there's usually a designated hitter for the pitcher, or the catcher. And that allows you to bring in one player and not take him out of the lineup. Stepping up now, Mark Fink, third baseman, as we mentioned, is 1 for 3 today. That one gets away, and Fisher is going to move up to second base on the pass ball. Well, make that a wild pitch. The hacker was here. He'd never allow us to give the catcher more than he deserves. Keith Fagan still out on the mound. That pitch is high, so the count now at 2 balls and no strikes to Mark Fink. That's low. Ball 4. So Fink is on. Puts runners at first and second. Still nobody out. And Joe Lanzetta, the catcher, 1 for 3. Bounced to second in the first, singled, and came around to score in the third, and bounced to short in the 4th inning. First pitch misses outside, ball 1. Fagan not real happy with that call. Takes a long look into home plate umpire Lou Giacomini. Fouled out of play behind the Hastings dugout. Blind Brook looking to improve on their 12-3 overall record in Conference C South play this season. They are at 9-1. Hastings at 4-8-1 overall, 3-5-1 in the conference. First time these teams have met this season. They'll have one more scheduled at Hastings. That's a foul ball, and it looks like it caught Pat Lacey on his throwing hand. But a called strike. Count at 1-2 against Joe Lanzetta with nobody out. Paul Phillips, actually David Fisher running for Paul Phillips at second base, and Mark Fink down at third. There's Pat Lacey. Steps right back in. 1-2 pitch from Keith Fagan. Low and outside. 2-2. Jeff Charney, head coach of Blind Brook in his second season. Inside fastball, swung on and missed. Strike 3, so Lanzetta goes down swinging. And for Mr. Fagan, that is the 4th strikeout for him. So one away. And coming in now will be Frank Gabriel, who replaced Andy Brown. Gabriel actually went into left field. Brown was the right fielder. And he came out as Dave Kramer was moved from left to right. So this is Gabriel's first appearance at the plate. And he goes after a curveball and misses it, strike one. Brown, before he left, was 0 for 3 today. One out, runners at first and second. Blindbrook leading 9-4. That's outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gabriel squares the bunt, pops one up. Great catch by Fagan. He'll throw to second, and they got him a double play. An excellent play by Keith Fagan to make the catch on the bunt attempt by Frank Gabriel, and then threw over to Chris Madison covering at second to make the double play, and he did it in such a hurry that they had to wait for Madison to get over to cover, and they almost didn't get it. What a grab by Fagan as he looked to first and then went to second base, and just in time. So Blindbrook goes down. It looked like they were getting ready to rally here, but in any event, they come up empty. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. At the end of 6 complete, it remains Blindbrook 9, Hastings 4. Last chance for the Yellow Jackets coming up in just a moment.
All across the nation, they're getting ready. The superstars, Dr. J, Bird, Kareem, the super teams, the Celtics, Lakers, and Sixers. They're getting ready for the event that happens but once a year.
America's Super Shootout, the NBA playoffs. It's do or die for the world's greatest athletes beginning April 18th on Superstation WTBS.
UA Westchester, Cable Channel 29.
Alcohol abuse. It hits you right where you live, shattering families.
Shut up, Jennifer! Leave her! Get out of my way!
Turning our highways into battlefields.
Dispatch, this is 165. We've got a fatal. Send the crew.
Roger, 165.
Alcohol abuse. It doesn't have to hit you where you live. Give your town a fighting chance. Call 1-800-ALCALLS.
All right, last opportunity coming up now for the Yellow Jackets. They trail 9-4 as we go to the top half of the 7th inning. I'm John Caridio on our Cable 3 Sports Special. High school baseball, a Conference C-South matchup. Hastings and Blindbrook. The Trojans looking to continue their lead in C-South. They're up by 2 games over Tuckahoe. And a big 2 games because the Trojans have lost already once to the Tigers. This is Chris Madison. Goes after this one, rolls it down the third base line, just foul. So we are now at no balls, 2 strikes to Chris Madison. Madison 0 for 2, reached on an error in the 3rd and struck out in the 5th. So far, Paul Phillips, through 6 innings of work, has given up 4 runs, has struck out 7, and has only walked 1. Hastings with their last chance here, trailing by 5. That one just missed outside. Madison had an idea, but laid off it. Bill Kennedy, top of the order, on deck, followed by Pat Lacey, and if anybody gets on, John Vaccaro. So John Morabito would really like to get Chris Madison on here, get that heart of the order to the plate. There's a roller in the hole, and he does just that. Madison with a base hit. A seeing eye base hit that got past Mark Fink and Mario Ferrante on the left side of the infield. So indeed, the leadoff hitter on, and Bill Kennedy now will step up. Kennedy, who right now at 0 for 3, popped to second in the 1st, a fielder's choice, and then fouled out to the first baseman, Seth Marcus, in the 5th. Paul Phillips, the distance. Pitches high, ball 1. Down the line at third. Nice play by Fink at third. Goes to second for one, and that's all they'll get, but a good play by Mark Fink, smothering the ball in front of him and eliminating Chris Madison at second. That goes 5-4, and Kennedy now down at first base. Here it is again. Nice play by Fink. Goes the short way, and they only had a chance to pick up one. So Kennedy replaces Madison at first with one away, and Pat Lacey now will step up. Lacey, the catcher, 1 for 3 today. Flied out to right in the first, bounced to short in the fourth, and singled to drive in 2 runs in the fifth. He also came around to score. That's when the Yellow Jackets put their 4 runs on the board in the 5th inning. Phillips, toss over to first, not in time. Again, we'll remind you, we'll take a short break at the end of this inning, should the score stay the same, and visit with our winning coach. That one's high. One ball, no strikes. 1 out, runner at first. Line drive into left field, falls in, base hit. So Lacey comes through with a single. Kennedy moves down to second base. And we'll bring up John Vaccaro. Vaccaro, the shortstop, called out on strikes in the first, popped to second in the fourth. He also had a 2-run single in the 5th inning. 1 for 3 today. And the Yellow Jackets still hanging tough. High, ball 1. Well, Paul Phillips trying to wrap this one up, looking for his 5th win of the year. Fly ball, center field. Joe Rosenberg coming on, makes the catch. Runner's hold, throw behind him, not in time. Now they were looking for, now we made a little arguing in the background. They're saying that he didn't have to tag Bill Kennedy at second. Alan Rand made the play, but Kennedy had tagged up. So even though the throw came into the play, you take another look at it here. Now, as soon as Rosenberg makes the catch, Kennedy took off. As you can see, he gets back in there. He's got to tag him on that play. And Jeff Charney goes out to talk with Ted Gale, who says, no, he had already tagged up. So that meant you had to get the tag on. So 2 outs, runners remaining at first and second. Stepping up now, Kevin Olkers. 1 for 3 today, struck out twice and doubled. Phillips' pitch is high, ball 1. This could be it. In the hole is short. Throw to second. No, not in time. Mario Ferrante may have eased up a little bit on the play as his flip to Alan Rand as they tried to go the short route and get Pat Lacey was just not in time. A bang-bang play. Ted Gale, the bases umpire, right on it. It's a slow roller. Ferrante up with it. Just a little time, and they say not in time. So that is going to have to be an error against Ferrante at short. They should have had an out there. But right now, the most important factor is that the bases are loaded with 2 outs. And to the plate, Bill Malenchek, the designated hitter. He is 0 for 3 today. Phillips' first pitch on the outside corner, strike 1. Misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hastings holding on, trailing by 5. Foul out of play. So the count now 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bill Malenchik, the designated hitter. The base is loaded, and Paul Phillips trying to wrap it up. There's John Morabito trying to urge him on. Olkers or Malenchik with a chance to drive in some runs. Keep the Yellow Jackets in it. High. Count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's high and tight. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And of course, with 2 away, the runners will be going. The tying run on deck for Hastings. They trail by 5 with the bases loaded. 2 away. 3-2 pitch. Runners go. High, ball 4. So that's an RBI for Bill Malenchik. As Kennedy scores from third, Lacey moves up to third base. Oker's now down at second. Malenchik at first, and Rob Sokic will step up. And he now represents the tying run at the plate. We're at 9-5. Only the second walk given up by Paul Phillips in the ballgame. He's really pitched very well. He set down the side the first 2 innings and kind of cruised along, giving up just 1 hit until he reached the 4th, where he was tagged for 4 runs. He had the bases loaded with nobody out, then got 2 outs, and then 2 2-run singles followed that. Rob Sokic lays off a high and outside fastball for ball 1. After that, Phillips an easy inning in the 6th, and here in the 7th has given up 1 run, 2 outs, and the bases are loaded with the tying run at the plate. That's over, called strike. We mentioned it earlier. Blindbrook lost their only conference game earlier this season down at Tuckahoe on a grand slam homer in the 7th inning with 2 outs. They lost that one 11-10. Does Lightning strike twice? Stay tuned. This is where we're really nasty. We take a break right here. But we won't. Sokic, 2 ball, 1 strike count to him. Inside, fastball on the inside part of the plate. Count evens up at 2-2. So deuces are wild on the scoreboard. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Paul Phillips trying to wrap it up. Rob Sokic, the first baseman. See if he can stay alive. He does, as he fouls this one straight back. Count remains at 2-2. John Morabito in his 8th season as head coach of the Yellow Jackets of Hastings. His team 2-time defending Conference C-South champs. They won't win this year. That looks like it's going to Blindbrook. Jeff Charney, their 2nd-year head coach. Last year in his rookie season, he took him to the Section 1 Class C championship. Looking to, well, he will, in any event, get into the tournament. Whether he wins it all will be answered shortly. There's a called strike 3, and the ball game is over. Sokic called out on strikes here in the 7th inning, and for Mr. Phillips, that is his 8th strikeout of the day, and he comes up with his 5th win of the season. For Hastings in the 7th, they do come up with 1 run on 1 hit. There was 1 error and 3 men left on base. The final score at Blindbrook, the Trojans come up a winner as they defeat Hastings by a score of 9-5. Stay right where you are. In just a moment, we'll visit with Jeff Charney, talk a little more about the ball game, and wrap everything up as we continue with our sports special right here at Cable 3.
over 100 years, the Red Cross has always been there. In emergencies, when America needed us most. With a hot meal, a warm, dry place to stay, and a helping hand. But without your time and money, there would be no Red Cross. And where would America be without the Red Cross?
One, two.
When cancer strikes a loved one, you don't need sympathy. You need team support. And when it comes to team support, the American Cancer Society is in first place. First in patient care, in education, and in life-saving research. The American Cancer Society is dedicated to improving the quality of life for all cancer patients. Remember, your American Cancer Society serves you and your family.
Well, again, we remind you the league-leading, Conference C South leading Blind Brook Trojans have come up with another win, and we're sitting here with Jeff Charney, the head coach, manager. What do they don't call them managers here in high school.
No, they
baseball,
call them coaches.
Okay.
Coaches.
Let's take the game apart a little bit. Let's start off first in that first inning, the 3-run homer by Jeff Rosenberg. Joe, he really creamed that one.
Yeah, he did. He hit it over into the soccer thing, and it was a nice shot. It was a good start to get a good jump on it on Hastings.
Now, is that something that you've tried to do throughout the season? Jump out early?
Well, we usually don't jump out. Usually we've been coming from behind. And this is one of the first times we got a lead in the beginning. We usually give up a run in the first inning, and then we have to come back. But it was good to get ahead. But I think we got ahead. We saw ourselves 9-0. We thought it was going to be an easy one, and we flubbed a few plays, and then we got in trouble there and made a good game for Cable 3 anyway.
That's
not
right.
Good game for the coach.
You got a couple more gray hairs.
Yeah, you're right. I got a few more on that one.
Paul Phillips, an excellent outing for him, now at 5-2. The numbers that I have on him, gave up 5 runs, struck out 8, only walked 2, and gave up 8 hits. He cruised through that early innings. Did he start to get a little tired?
No, we just had, like I said, with those, we had 2 mental plays, I guess physical plays I think it was the 5th inning or 4th inning, and ground ball and a little pop-up that gave them the big inning, and he threw 40 pitches that inning, which is too much for a pitcher in that inning, and he didn't get defensive help. And that was their big inning. He could probably shut him out had he not had that bad inning.
Okay, as we mentioned, you're now firmly locked in first place in the conference, at least a 2-game lead, possibly more, depending on how Tucko does. But at 10-1, defending Class C champs. Obvious question: can they repeat?
It's hard to repeat. They have some good teams. Rhinebeck we've yet to face in our league, and then we have Ardsley, who's undefeated in the Central. They're all tough when they come to section. They have to get a little lucky as well as a little good.
Okay, this one, I guess the one thing that you'll have to change is to try to keep that intensity throughout 7 innings of a game.
I say it every inning. I say 7 innings, and we sometimes do it, sometimes we don't.
Jeff, again, congratulations, and thanks for allowing us to take over the field for an afternoon.
Thank you very much. We're glad to have you.
Jeff Charney, the winning coach for the Blind Brook Trojans. In today's ball game, the quick numbers, as we mentioned, Phillips now at 5-2. The Trojans run their record to 13-3 overall, 10-1 in conference play. For the Yellow Jackets of Hastings, Keith Fagan picks up the loss. He's now at 0-3 through 6 innings, gave up 9 runs, 10 hits. He walked 7 and struck out 4. The Yellow Jackets now at 4-9-1 overall, 3-6-1 in conference play. So that's going to do it from Reed Field here at Blind Brook High School in Rye Brook, New York. For our director, Tony Koash, and executive producer, Paul Gluck, I'm John Caridio. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget, next up on the schedule this Tuesday and Wednesday night, more high school baseball from the Catholic High School League. We'll have the Gales of Iona Prep taking on the Crusaders of Stepinac from Delfino Park in White Plains. We'll look forward to seeing you then. The final once again here at Reed Field, Blind Brook, a winner over Hastings by a score of 9-4. See you later, everybody.